Authorities in China's financial hub Shanghai have pledged to refund taxes from shopkeepers and maintain the world's busiest port to limit the disruption to industry and commerce, as millions queue up in the closed metropolis for tests. The shutdown of most activity in China's most populous city this week to contain the virus epidemic has rattled global financial markets, already on the verge of Russia's war with Ukraine, higher US interest rates, and a slowing Chinese economy. As of Wednesday, the government reported 8,825 new infections nationwide, including 7,196 asymptomatic people. This includes 5,987 cases in Shanghai, of which only 329 are symptomatic. The number of cases in China in the recent outbreak is small compared to other major countries. But the ruling Communist Party enforces a zero-tolerance policy aimed at isolating everyone infected. About 9.1 million of Shanghai's 26 million residents had been tested for the virus as of Wednesday, health officials said. They said, preventive disinfection of residential complexes, office buildings and shopping centers was being carried out. Shanghai recorded more than 20,000 cases by Monday in its latest outbreak, according to state media. The party is trying to refine its strategy to control job losses and other costs for the world's second-largest economy. The Shanghai government has announced tax refunds, reduced rent and low-cost loans for small businesses. A government statement on Tuesday pledged to stabilize jobs and optimize the business environment. The port of Shanghai remains open, and managers are making extra efforts to ensure ships can dock normally, state television said. The port serves the Yangtze River Delta, one of the world's busiest manufacturing regions, with thousands of manufacturers of smartphones and automotive components, home appliances and other goods. Operations at the Shanghai airport and train station are running normally, according to the online edition of the paper. Bus services to and from the city were stopped early. Visitors must show a negative virus test. Overseas, the potential biggest impact on China's Asian neighbors and the rest of the world is likely to come from events that have dampened demand in the world's most populous consumer market. China is the largest export market for all of its neighbors, including Japan and South Korea. Economic growth is forecast to slow from 8.1% last year, due to the government's campaign to reduce corporate debt and other non-pandemic challenges. The ruling party's official target is 5.5%, but even estimates suggest it will be difficult to achieve and will require spending stimulus. Officials seek to protect China's role in global production lines by ensuring goods reach customers, Liu Qias, chief economist for Asia and the Pacific, told S&P Global Ratings. He noted that the factory was chasing orders and working overtime after the previous shutdown. The impact on the supply chain is not as big as many outside observers fear, Qias said. These restrictions are likely to have a bigger impact on costs and demand in China. The impact on Shanghai will have to be relatively muted if the city maintains its hearth, as the southern business hub of Shenzhen is accustomed to. Shenzhen, a technology and financial hub of 17.5 million people, imposed a similar city shutdown in mid-March and reopened a week later. Financial workers can work from home, while automakers and other large manufacturers can force workers to live in factories in a closed system that isolates them from contact with the outside world. General Motors Company and Volkswagen AG said their factory in Shanghai was operating normally. GM said in an email that it was implementing a global contingency plan with suppliers to reduce uncertainty around COVID-19. Elsewhere, a total of 2,957 new cases were reported in northeastern Jilin province, including 1,032 asymptomatic. Access to the province's cities of Chongqing and Jilin has been suspended. The BMW Group said the Chongqing plant halted production on March 24 following the epidemic. In Shanghai, thousands of stock traders and other financial officials sleep in their offices to avoid contact with outsiders, reports the Daily Economic News. The Shanghai Stock Exchange is said to be operating normally with staff reductions in closed offices. China's equity market benchmark Shanghai Composite was up 1.3% by lunchtime Wednesday. Most other Asian markets have also made progress. Nearby, the Bund, Shanghai's most popular neighborhood, is quiet and free from the usual crowds of pedestrians. Most restaurants are only allowed to serve diners who order via mobile phones and wait outside for food. Shopping center visitors must wear a mask and register via a smartphone app. An even greater threat to industry and commerce emerged as disease restrictions plagued the port of Shanghai. Handles the equivalent of 140,000 shipping containers per day. If the ports were closed, there would be more transfers, but not everything is fine now, Carnell said. That's something else we don't need. Last year, a month-long delay at another major Yanshan port in Shenzhen left thousands of shipping containers behind and sent shockwaves through global supply chains. The excitement in financial markets may be kneeling excessively, which does not reflect the true reality of the situation, but investors are already worried about China and the global economy, said Michael of Verge Rabobank.